Welcome to Wealth of Words. Where we take a look at these really fascinating books.
Yeah.
The ones that make you think differently about the world. And I'm Richard.
I'm Isabella.
And we're excited you're here with us today.
We're kind of like your book club friends, but,
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about bringing snacks
Yeah.
or even finishing the book.
Right. We're going to break it all down for you.
That's right.
So just grab your drink, get comfy, and we'll jump right in.
And real quick, before we get started, would love for you to hit that follow button and let us know what you think.
Yes, please do that.
Yeah, we love the feedback.
It helps us get better.
Absolutely.
So the book we're exploring today is Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point.
It's a good one.
Have you ever noticed how sometimes a trend just explodes, like out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Like, everybody's got these shoes all of a sudden.
Like those shoes. Yeah.
Or that song you just hear.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Well, that's what The Tipping Point's all about.
Yeah. Like those little things that can spark these huge changes. Like, how does a tiny snowball turn into this massive avalanche?
It's wild, right?
Right.
So Gladwell, he compares it to like how viruses spread.
Okay.
Which, might sound a little strange at first, but it makes sense.
It does.
Like ideas and trends, they could be contagious.
Oh, yeah, just like a virus.
Yeah. And it's that moment where it goes from, like, you barely notice it to, oh, wow, it's an epidemic.
Boom.
That's the tipping point.
Yeah. And to understand how these tipping points even happen.
Right.
Gladwell, he introduces this thing called the law of the few.
Yeah.
He says that it's not like tons of people driving these massive explosions of popularity.
Okay.
But it's actually like a small group of people.
Right.
Who are just very influential.
A small group, but they're influential.
Yes. Very influential.
We're not talking about like a whole army of influencers.
No.
Just a few key players.
Yes.
Okay, so he breaks these down into 3 different categories.
That's right.
Connectors, mavens, and salesmen.
Yeah, and you probably know people like this already in your life.
Probably, yeah.
Like, think about that friend who just seems to know everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Or that person who's like a walking encyclopedia.
Oh, my gosh, yes. They know everything.
Yes. Those are your connectors and your mavens.
Right.
So the connectors, they're the social butterflies. Like, they just kind of like float around and they bridge all these different groups.
They know everybody.
They know everyone, and they spread information like wildfire.
Yeah, it's like Paul Revere, riding through the night.
The British are coming.
The British are coming.
But instead of that, it's like the latest fashion trend.
Right, or the new cryptocurrency to buy or something,
Exactly.
Whatever it is.
But then you've got the mavens.
Yeah.
And those are the information gurus. Like, they're not trying to sell you on anything. They just love to share what they know.
Yeah.
Like, they could tell you the best pizza place, the best way to pack your suitcase.
They've got a system.
They have a system for everything. Or like that hidden gem of a book you just absolutely have to read.
Like, you have to read this book.
Yes.
It will change your life.
That's right.
Right, okay. And then we have the salesmen.
Like closer.
Yeah, they're masters of persuasion.
Yeah.
They take that information that the mavens give them.
Right.
Add in a little bit of charisma, and then convince you that you need to do it.
You got to do it.
Yes.
Right.
Think about those really charismatic leaders.
Oh, yeah.
Or even like those friends
Yeah.
who can always talk you into trying something new.
Oh, yeah. You got to try this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got the connectors spreading the word.
Uh-huh.
We've got the mavens providing the knowledge.
Yes.
And then the salesmen getting us to take action.
But it gets even more interesting.
Oh.
Gladwell says it's not just about who spreads the message, but it's also about how sticky the message is.
Okay.
So he calls this the stickiness factor.
The stickiness factor.
Have you ever had one of those like annoying jingles or slogans
Totally.
that you just can't get out of your head?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
That's the stickiness factor. It's like, how do they make this thing that I just can't stop thinking about it?
It's memorable.
Yeah, it resonates with you.
Yeah.
Like long after you've encountered it.
That's right.
And you might be surprised by how like a small change in how something is presented can make a big difference in how sticky it is.
Exactly.
So Gladwell, he uses this example of Blue's Clues.
Okay.
And they found that repeating the same episode for like several days in a row.
What?
Which sounds really tedious to us.
Oh, yeah.
Actually made the show way stickier for the young viewers.
For the little ones.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The repetition, even though it might seem kind of over the top, it helps that idea really sink in.
It's like the difference between hearing a song one time and then having it stuck in your head for days.
Exactly. Yeah.
The more you hear it, the more it sticks.
The more it sticks with you.
Right. But it's not just repetition, though.
Okay.
It's about finding those ways to make the information really engaging.
Right.
And, like, relevant to whoever your audience is.
Yeah. And that brings us to that third key element.
Okay.
That Gladwell highlights.
Okay.
The power of context.
The power of context. I
It's
love
the idea that our environment,
okay,
even the smallest details,
yeah,
can really influence our behavior.
okay,
Like how when you walk into a library,
yeah,
you start whispering.
you just whisper.
Like, nobody told you to do it.
Right.
But it's just what you do.
The vibe. Yeah.
Our surroundings, they shape our actions.
Yeah.
In all these subtle ways.
Oh.
Gladwell uses this really fascinating example from New York City in the 90s.
Okay.
Crime rates, they plummeted during this time.
Really? Wow.
And you'd think, maybe it was like a big policy change or something like that. But Gladwell, he points to something way simpler.
What's that?
Fixing stuff like graffiti.
Okay.
And broken windows.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the broken windows theory.
Broken windows. Okay.
And the idea is that, like, visible signs of disorder encourage more crime.
So basically it's like a signal that nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Yeah.
Right.
So when the city focused on cleaning up those small signs of decay, something remarkable happened.
What happened?
The crime rates dropped dramatically.
Wow, just by changing the environment.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Just like addressing those little details that we might think are insignificant.
Uh-huh.
They created this ripple effect that had a massive impact.
That's so cool.
It really makes you think.
Yeah.
Like, what are those small changes in my own environment that could lead to
positive changes?
Really positive changes in my life.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right.
I love that.
Pretty cool stuff, right?
Very cool.
So that's kind of a big overview of the law of the few.
Uh-huh.
The stickiness factor.
Yes.
And the power of context.
I love it.
Those three big ideas from the tipping point.
Awesome.
And we're just scratching the surface here.
Oh, yeah. There's so much more.
We're going to dive deeper
in
the next part of the show.
I can't wait.
And explore how all of this stuff comes together.
Yes.
So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's like we don't just exist on our own,
Right.
Everything around us, all the people we talk to.
Yeah.
It all, like, comes together and affects.
Shapes our decisions.
Yeah. Our decisions, our actions.
Yeah. So we've got these three rules, right?
Yeah.
The law of the few.
Uh-huh.
The stickiness factor.
Yes.
The power of context.
Uh-huh.
But, like, how do these actually work together? Yeah. To create these tipping points.
Yeah, those moments where
everything just explodes.
Yeah, and the change just becomes, like, contagious.
Gladwell doesn't just tell us about these concepts. He gives us all these real-world examples of how this stuff plays out in everything from marketing to public health.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's really wild.
One of the coolest examples, I think, is how rumors spread.
Rumors?
Yeah. Think about, like, those times when you hear something through the grapevine.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's about, like, a new product or some juicy gossip.
Right. Right.
That's the law of the few at work.
It's like that game of telephone we used to play.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
When we were kids.
Yeah, you whisper something in someone's ear, and by the end...
It's totally different.
Completely different.
But instead of, like, a silly phrase, it's like ideas or behaviors.
Right, or trends.
Or trends, yeah.
And it's not always good stuff, either.
Right, right. Like how bad habits spread.
Oh, yeah.
Or like panic in a crowd.
Yeah, totally.
It can go both ways. That's true.
It's kind of scary to think about.
Yeah, a little.
How connected we all are.
It's like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Your actions.
We don't know how far they're going.
Yeah, and you don't know how far they go.
Right.
It's kind of freaky.
But here's the good news.
Okay, good.
When you understand these principles,
you
can actually use them to create positive change.
Okay.
Like, we can use the law of the few to find those key influencers.
Right.
And they can help us spread the right message.
Spread the good word.
Yeah.
I like that.
And we can make our ideas stickier.
Yeah, how do we do
that?
By
focusing on, like, what actually resonates with our audience.
Okay.
And we can even change our environments.
Yeah.
To support the changes we want to see.
That's awesome.
Something I thought was really fascinating in the book.
Yeah.
Was this idea called the Rule of 150.
The Rule of 150, what's that?
So it's this theory that there's a limit.
A limit to what?
To how many, like,
okay,
stable social relationships we can have.
And it's right around 150 people.
150, okay.
Which might seem random.
Yeah.
But it actually has, like, really big implications.
Like what?
Think about, like, successful companies or, like, tight-knit communities.
Right.
they operate within this rule of 150.
They do.
Because it allows for that like intimacy and connection that builds trust and cooperation.
So it's about quality, not quantity.
Exactly.
Got it.
It's not always about being bigger
Yeah.
when groups get too big.
Right.
It's hard to keep everybody on the same page.
It's harder to maintain that sense of purpose.
Yeah, that shared purpose, that sense of belonging.
Yeah. So this is like important for everything.
Right.
Building strong teams at work to creating those fair communities.
It's about those meaningful connections.
Yeah.
Because that's how ideas spread. That's how behaviors change.
Right.
That's how tipping points happen.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive on the tipping point, I want to leave you with a little challenge. Okay, I like a challenge.
I know you do.
Hit me with it.
Go out into the world and really pay attention.
To what?
To those trends, those behaviors, those ideas that are just spreading like crazy.
Okay.
Like, can you spot any tipping points?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Spot the tipping point.
Yeah. Who are the connectors, the Mavens, and the Salesmen behind them?
Okay.
And how are stickiness and context shaping everything around you?
Once you start looking for them, you'll see them everywhere.
You'll see them everywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like he gives us this secret code to figure out how the world works.
I know, it's so true.
And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
I know, and that's what I love about The Tipping Point. It's not just a good book to read, but it's also like this practical guide for understanding
how things change.
Yeah, and navigating those forces that like shape the world around us.
Yeah, it makes you think differently.
Yeah, look beyond the surface.
And realize that even small actions make a huge difference.
Right.
Totally. It's like we all have this power to make a change.
We do.
To start movements, to like influence trends.
Make a difference.
Yeah, make a difference.
Whether it's, launching that new product or supporting a cause or even just changing your own habits.
Right.
Understanding these principles.
It can really give you a boost.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff.
It is powerful.
So as we wrap up our look at the tipping point here on Wealth of Words.
Yes.
We want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, hit me.
If little changes can have such a big impact.
Yeah.
Imagine what kind of ripple effect you can create.
That's a good one.
Right?
Think about all those people you talk to every day.
Yeah.
The ideas that you share. The things that you do.
What kind of tipping point could you start?
What could you start?
It's exciting to think about.
It's very exciting.
So a big thanks to everybody for joining us on this deep dive into the tipping point.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
We hope you learned some cool stuff and are ready to use these ideas in your own lives.
And don't forget to follow Wealth of Words.
Yes, please do.
For more explorations of all these books that shape how we see the world and ourselves.
Until next time, happy reading.
Happy reading.